I'm going to hit the record button because this is getting to really good information to share. So I'm going to ask you to repeat. Number one, what is going on right now in the real estate business in terms of how you're able to maintain your lead cycle in this slowdown? Or are you like Erica, you're talking about playing with the kids. How are you modifying your approach to business development during this strange time?
Yeah, I think the key is just going online more. Everything is moving that direction anyway. And, I saw something about even virtual tours of houses, where you put on the headset and you walk through the house virtually. So that might get, a boon for whatever it's worth. I mean, people still have to move sometimes, with jobs and whatnot. Even though the military, I think, has been put on hold for PCSing. So that's big.
Yeah.
But, I think just focusing on your back end stuff, what do you got going on for your website, and what are you doing for marketing, promotion, and that type of stuff. It's not so much about getting out anymore and meeting with people. It's it's reaching out the old fashioned way, maybe on telephone or text or email. I have to create a whole new website, so that's kind of been my focus, and a whole new database. So I'm really in the weeds on all that back end stuff and trying to figure all that stuff out.
Now, in terms of database, how are you managing your leads?
Well, at my old company, they were in a database, and we had like a monthly email that went out that kind of just gave a market update or whatever was going on in the market. And then most of my people were set up on searches if they were looking, but if they're just past clients, then I just set them up on like a 1 month email that goes out to them that shows them the activity in their neighborhood, just so they can see, oh yeah, that house down the street sold for X amount or whatever. And then I also do a boomerang card, which is, the coupon that people get in the mail.
Yeah.
Buy one, get one free with your picture and information on it. I think those are helpful. But yeah, I haven't done much with Facebook ads or anything like that. The company I joined, she does a mail out newsletter, believe it or not. That's like.
Oh, is this Lauren Collier?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I actually interviewed for that position back in the fall.
Oh,
yep.
Really?
Buyer's agent position. Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And at the time, I just decided to stay where I was. I was with another boutique firm. I'm sorry, totally interjected. But just
no problem.
You were talking about when you started talking. No, she's really got her act together. Yeah.
Yeah, she seems smart, and she's
very
paired up
savvy
with a couple of builders. So she's got some inventory that's coming online with builders. So then leads come from that. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Hopefully it's a good thing.
Yeah, good. Awesome. Are you done? I'm sorry, I totally interrupted.
Yeah, go ahead.
So your question, Donna, was what are we doing during these strange times? I, frankly, being fairly newly licensed, my two buyers that I'm working with wanted to put things on hold for now, just for things, dust to settle, so to speak. Yeah. So, but a realtor friend of mine, Eric had mentioned the virtual tour. She has a buyer that she's working with that needs to get into a place, and she's being challenged with these sellers who are not wanting to have showings. And so she did do a virtual tour with her buyer. The seller was okay with my friend being in the home. And so, people are just adjusting and adapting. My son and I are on the investing side as well. Mm-hmm. And so we have been door knocking, which we can't really do now, but recently we were door knocking. Yeah. And we door knocked in my old neighborhood where I grew up. And that was actually quite successful because being relational, I was able to say, I grew up in this neighborhood and my mom lives around the corner. Yeah. And my best friend used to live in this house, and I've been in this house a ton. And my son and I are walking the neighborhood and getting to know everybody, and just wondering if you're planning to sell anytime soon, or if you know anyone who is. And I got so many people starting to talk, and one gal was like the niece of my friend growing up, and the house went to her. And anyway, it was just so like that. Because I run relationally, and I also joined a Master Networks group. I don't know if it's like BNI, but I think I comparing the two, I prefer Master Networks. And the meetings are Thursdays downtown, but we're obviously going to be doing Zoom meetings for a little while.
Yeah.
Thank God for Zoom. So not being able to meet in person, we have Zoom, and collaborated with Barb and Sherry and another gentleman in our group named Kevin. We did a Zoom call, and we're going to be doing some things on our Facebook page. We have a business page as a group, and we each have been assigned, a main post, that we do each month. So it'll be a main post per week, and then we'll also do other little posts in between there that will hopefully drive people to our page. And then, people might say, oh, those people are so engaging, and I want them to be, you never know how it works, but
Yeah.
So.
Well, and yeah, it makes sense. You got to try different tactics before you know what, where to land and what your rhythm's going to be.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Drippy nose. I think it's fun to share some of the different tactics. But I want to dial back the question to, since we're talking about business development, and last week we talked about operations, how are you actually managing your leads, staying on top of your pipeline? What are you doing to manage those contacts?
You want to go first, Erica?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I follow up. I either text or I call them, or I don't really email much, but I'm finding that texting, I get way more of a response. As far as managing the people in my pipeline, just following up saying, so, because I have several people that are on hold and are still in my pipeline. So I'll touch base, and I even did before this virus hit. So I'll just touch base and ask them where they are in the process, when do they think they'll be ready, things like that. I don't know if that was your question or not.
Well, I'm curious to know how you're managing your pipeline in terms of operational systems.
I'm really not. They're just in my head, and then so.
That's what I was going to say is, I need that marketing plan that I've always tried to put together. It's the birthday card, it's the anniversary card, it's the monthly drip email, or, not drip, but just market email.
Yeah, the market. Yeah.
So what the gal was, who was her name last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say too, is I need to get, my people into that database and make sure they're getting a card regularly.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. But yeah, we also do, I used to at my old company, but I'll continue to do real estate reviews where, past buyers that have bought from me a year or two ago would get probably like a 20-page report on the market. It shows like national statistics, then local, and then their neighborhood activity. It's not a full-blown CMA, but just, what's going on in your neighborhood, what's going on in the market. And then if you're interested in more, if you're thinking about moving, then, let's set up a time, and I would love to come back and do a full CMA. But just kind of checking in with people, and, around tax time too, and people might need information regarding that, or maybe they're thinking about refining. So it's good to just kind of be on their mind.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the benefit of that drip campaign, just staying in front of them. So you're the first one they call. I know we, in the 15 or 16 years we've lived in this area, we've, I can't even count the number of realtors that we've met through church or life just around town. And so when it comes to buying a house, which we're now planning to do within the next year, no rush on the market here. It's a matter of who's been in touch recently.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it comes down to sometimes.
Yeah, it's interesting. As much as you want to be loyal, it just comes to, who's right in front of me at the time that I need to move.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Zillow became so popular, because people were starting online and looking at stuff, and then, oh, look, there's 3 agents here that I can pick from, or I'm interested in this house, let me click on this link, and all of a sudden they've got that agent in front of them, even though, they've been working with so-and-so for years. And sometimes it works against you too. I would get Zillow leads, and then they would call you and go want to see a house, but come to find out, they do have an agent. They just needed somebody to let them in on this, a Sunday or something. So
Yeah.
there's that too. But the other tool I use is HomeBot, which is sponsored by a lender. And that's a really good tool I found, because people actually open the emails and you can see who's opened it, who's reopened it, who's forwarded it. And it's basically just a home value tool that it gives them their value. And then if they were to refi, what their payment would look like.
Okay.
Or, do you want to pull out equity? Yeah. And go invest that money. So it's not really a salesy type tool at all. And, I'm just at the very bottom. It's really branded more towards, your home value. So I've found that tool super successful.
And who's the lender that?
Any lender can sponsor it for you, co-sponsor.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it costs them like $200 a month, and then the agent is $25 a month. But then that lender can sponsor, multiple agents with that $200.
Okay.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say that business development in a pandemic leads to some creative solutions. And one way to stay in front of your customers is just to find a way that you add value, like staying in front of them with information like that.
Yeah.
And it, can also be how to add value just with ideas for entertaining your kids while you're homebound. I mean, it can be really practical.
That's true. Yeah.
I've been watching what different businesses are doing, and it's interesting how being forced to stay home is leading to some creative solutions that maybe we haven't just taken the time to implement because we've been so busy going to do things, showing up for networking meetings and things like that. So it's interesting to watch. A friend of mine noticed in the news that, China's been under quarantine a lot longer than we have. And aerial footage is actually showing a decrease in their air pollution.
Oh, yeah.
As other cities around the world start to notice this with their own isolation, this could actually be what sparks a global trend toward virtual working in order to save all that commute pollution.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, all of the different legs of implications. But I'm on a little bit of a diversion here. I wanted to show you guys a few tools that may or may not really have meaning for you right now. You might already have. It's so funny. I've asked, how you're managing leads, and I'm getting tactics, but I'm not getting tools. And I just wanted to share with you some of the research that I've done on ways that I manage my pipeline and how I'm working with small businesses on some options for keeping all the balls in the air. Because I know that in my business development planning and life cycle, I tend to lose track of leads. They fall between the cracks. And actually, it wasn't until I recently moved all of my contacts from one CRM to another that I recognized so many names that I lost track of, because somehow they got entered into the system but not flagged or followed up on a consistent basis. So I'm going to go to screen share so you can see a few of these things and comment on what you know too, because I think that's important, that we continue the mastermind and share knowledge. I think you heard Brenda talk about the fact that if you are moving to banner season, HubSpot is one of their preferred affiliate partners in terms of having a connection set up so that if you add contacts to the HubSpot database, and this is just the contact view, it will automatically port over into banner season. there are certain contact databases like HubSpot that actually have marketing automation options. So some of these are, you have to upgrade to a higher level of service. I'm showing you what I have with the free service on HubSpot. And there are whole lots of different ways that you can upgrade it. But the part that I use the most right now is tracking my deals, tracking my pipeline. Because when I go back to review where I am with different deals, I can actually, when I have the pipeline full, I just transferred this, so I don't have everything in here yet. It's nice to take a weekly rhythm just to look at the pipeline and take a look at where everybody is and prioritize what I'm going to follow up on based on some of those factors we talked about earlier. The revenue potential, the fit, the degree of the fit with the skills that I provide, urgency of their decision. We talked about that. So this is a view that I use once a week to just check where I am, and you can actually switch from table view to board view. Close has, excuse me, a really good pipeline view, and what frustrates me is that if you're not using the paid version, all you can access are your contacts. So what I love about the close view is that all of my clients end up in the pipeline, so that when it comes time to schedule calls, I don't just have deals. I actually have everybody in my list is somewhere in the pipeline, and I'm able to prioritize my time that week based on the calls I need to make, or maybe groups I can get together, because I have a really nice view of where all of my individuals fit in that pipeline. Insightly also has open leads according to kind of whether you've contacted them or not, or where you are in your contact kind of timeline. And you have the ability to actually take a look at people or organizations. You can actually create a forecast, and it's really cool way to just kind of take a look at what's going on overall. You can actually manage projects in Insightly, and some of the, like Close doesn't have project management. HubSpot has tasks, but not exactly project management. So all depends on whether you're sharing any kind of action items with other people on a team and need to share that through a common portal. Keep is another one that helps you to organize your leads and then manage payment and stay connected with them. I don't think that's an optimal thing for real estate, because obviously your payment goes through a whole different kind of system. This is more for organizations like me that are billing and clients, and the same thing with Thrive. I think they have really great marketing automation, customer relationship management, but the sales automation doesn't really make as much sense for real estate. And these guys don't have a free version, so it's really great for someone who needs help managing payment processing and stuff like that. And then Monday is another thing that also has lead management, sales order tracking. They really have a good system, a good visual system for working on a team and creating a really simple user interface. So again, it's more for oriented towards teams, but you know, that's why I'm going back to HubSpot for managing my contacts, because there's no limit to the number of contacts you can manage in the free version. So if you're building a business and you're not quite at a place where you want one more thing you have to pay monthly fee for.
Yeah.
HubSpot definitely has more breadth. I was in Untitled and apparently rocking it because I reached my contact limit, and it was really inconvenient because once I reached the 500 contact limit, it wouldn't let me do any transaction on Untitled until I upgraded.
Wow.
So I immediately, set into this whole process of identifying how many different contact management systems are out there and what is the maximum number of contacts you can use on them so that I don't get stuck again. And ultimately, HubSpot was where I landed too, because I knew I was going to be opening the account with Banner Season, and they already have the ability to segue into the Banner Season system. So anyway, that provides a little bit of an overview of some of the research that I've done on how to stay on top of contacts and make sure that I don't lose track of anybody. Because I just, I agree with you, Lila, relationships are really the critical gold in, creating trust and value. And I honestly, I can't stay on top of all of the people that I meet without having some kind of a system.
No, it makes sense. I'm sure I'm going to have to get my act together. We have KV Core through EXP, but I haven't, I've been just starting out. I don't have the database that you two have.
Well, it's a really good time. The good news, Lila, is if you pick a system that feels good to you, then you're in a really good place to start from scratch and build with a really good, rigorous process. Because it's the hard part is where you have so many contacts and so many clients that now you're having to deal with exporting and importing and all of the cleanup that's involved in that. I know when I imported my contacts into HubSpot, I lost a lot of information because I either had it miscategorized in the old database, or I didn't click the button to import it. There's a process where you go and match all your fields, and I know I lost some of that information, and it's frustrating to do that in mid-cycle. It's a really great time for you to get started
and get started with the right one.
Mm-hmm. Hey, honey. Coming and get.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that the best database is the one that you'll actually use, because some of them are so overwhelming and robust, and all these things that you're never going to do. So just find one that's simple enough that does what you need to do. I mean, I've used Excel for a lot of stuff for years. Like, I still work from a hot sheet from Excel that I put my people that I need to work with in the next, my hot people the next 2 or 3 months, and they're in Excel. They're not even, they're in my database getting the normal stuff, but I find it hard to work from a database and open it up and say, okay, what are my to-dos this week? And, that's something I need to work on and get better at, because that's how you do manage it, is you work your database. So, now's a good time to be focused on that.
Okay. If you have a good system in any kind of database like this, you automatically get reminders based on the client type.
Yeah.
And you have a workflow for people at different lead stage. So they just automatically, the system just automatically generates that reminder to reach out or to send a marketing campaign. Like I do most of my marketing campaigns through MailChimp, and I'm working on kind of switching that because I want to keep it connected to a single database, and I do not want to manage contacts between HubSpot, MailChimp, and Banner Season. It's just too much.
Yeah.
I just realized that I keep forgetting this whenever I start Zoom meetings. I have the free account that only gives you 45 minutes.
I saw
The little reminder.
reminder. Yeah.
Okay, total transparency. There was a time that I was new to coaching, had just started to do this, and I set up the free Zoom, and I was in the middle of a coaching meeting when that reminder came up saying, you have 5 minutes left, you can upgrade now. And so while the person was talking, I was really quickly hitting the upgrade buttons.
Oh, how funny.
So I was going to share some thoughts on negotiations, but since I realized that I'm running out of time, I'm going to email those to you.
Okay.
And with the name of the book that I was getting this information from, so that you can get a chance to benefit from some of those good tips on negotiations, because that's where the pedal hits the metal, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Well, thanks so much for joining today. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see familiar faces.
Yeah, for sure.
And
stay
I'll
warm.
Follow-up email, and maybe we'll check out GoToMeeting, since we have Laura locked out here. Maybe she'll provide the meeting next time, so that we don't run out of time.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Thanks, friends.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Thank you, Donna. Take care. Bye, Erica.
Bye. Have a good week.
You too.